Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, Assalamu alaikum. Today I will discuss with you a topic, media conglomerates. As you all know that television, film and video game companies seem to come out of the woodwork in today's startup centric economy. Who knows what they will do next? But while it may seem like you have limitless options, most of the media you consume is owned by one of the six companies. These six media companies are known as the Big Six. While independent media outlets still exist, and there are a lot of them, the major outlets are almost all owned by these six conglomerates. To be clear, media is the next, are in this context, doesn't refer just to news outlets. It refers to any medium that controls the distribution of information. So here, media includes 24-hour news stations, newspapers, publishing houses, internet utilities, and even video game developers. With that in mind, let's take a look at each of the big four media conglomerates who have control and what they own. We will discuss it one by one. So let's start it from the national amusements. Unless you are directly involved in business or in entertainment, you have probably never heard of the national amusements before. The company owns movie theaters throughout the world. It's around about 950 total theaters. But it owns much more than just movie theaters. The National Amusements' huge collection of properties is staggering. Whether they own a company entirely, possesses majority shares, or even own minority voting shares, the scope of the National Amusements' reach is enormous for a company that's known less than its subsidiaries. To start out, look at the National Amusements, or NA. Let's check out one of the biggest names in modern businesses, which is the Sumner Redstone. The Sumner Redstone is the head of the company. He is the current owner of National Amusements and all of its properties, while his daughter Shari has the title of president. Sumner Redstone retains most of the control over the company. National Amusements was first founded by the Sumner Redstone's father. His name is the Michael Redstone, making National Amusements one of the most powerful and successful corporate dynasties in the United States. None of the Redstones publish their salaries. After all, National Amusement is a private company. However, financial experts can guess at Sumner Redstone's overall net worth. His net worth refers to the total financial values of what Sumner Redstone owns, minus any outstanding debts, as he nears his 94th birthday in 2017. Sumner Redstone and his estate is worth an estimated round about 4.6 billion US dollars, according to Forbes, while a decent amount of that value comes from his stake in National Amusements. Much more of it's come from the companies that he owns. Let's talk about the television and film assets. The most famous assets of National Amusements are almost all Viacom and CBS properties. Combined, they make up the lion's share of National Amusements television and film acquisitions. Still, that's only a portion of what National Amusement owns. The National Amusement has a modest collection of print publishers, but they are pretty well known. The most well known is the Simon and Chester, which National Amusements acquired when it purchased Viacom in 1999. Along with other entertainment assets, National Amusement controls CBS Games. Since its acquisitions, CBS Games has rebranded to CBS Interactive, which now controls well-known gaming websites that we will look at next. National Amusement controls giant chunks of the video game news and sports news industries. These brands include GameSpot. The next is the Metacritic, CNET, and 247 Sports. The second media conglomerate is Disney. Disney is probably the most well-known media name on this list. The company has a hand in just about every medium in the world, from children's cinema to sports. When it comes to television and film, there is a good chance you are watching something owned by the Disney company. Even if it doesn't have Disney's name, why? They own so much. Let's start about with the company's leader. His name is the Bob Iger. Disney announced Bob Iger as the CEO of the company on March 13 in 2005, following the departure of the Michael Eisner. Since then, Iger has run a campaign of the mergers and acquisitions to expand Disney into an even greater media powerhouse, especially with the acquisitions of the Marvel, which is $4 billion US, and Lucasfilm, which is $4 billion US. His published salary is $44.9 million. That breaks down to $1.73 million per paychecks. Why does Iger make so much money? He technically oversees all of the following companies, like television and film assets of the Disney company. First, let's look at the bread and butter of Disney, television and film. Considering they have theme parks built to their entertainment assets, it's clear that Disney is best known for its television and film properties. There are so many different companies that you really just have to see it for yourself. Disney's print assets are a mix of proprietary publishers, Lucasfilm acquisitions, and Marvel properties. The mix gives Disney a controlling interest in massive publishing, especially comic books and science fiction novels. Disney also owns ESPN channel, which has its own publishing arm for all things related to sports. Finally, Disney owns a few video game assets. They haven't huge, but they are enough to keep Disney mildly competitive and up to date in the video game industry, especially mobile gaming. One of them is the GameStar, a subsidiary of Disney Interactive Studios, is one of the best known video game developers bought by Disney. The third media conglomerate is the Time Warner. At the time of publishing, it's around about 2016. It's possible that AT&T will soon buy Time Warner for around 80 billion US dollars. If that happens, AT&T will acquire everything below and more. In the meantime, let's take a more in-depth look at the Time Warner and what it owns. The head of the company is uh, Jeff Bezos. He is also the CEO of Time Warner. He makes around about 32.5 million US dollar per year. That works out to 1.25 million US dollars per paycheck. So why does one American earn the make as much as the Micronesians in a year? Is the head of the Time Warner. He is responsible for all of the following companies like television and film assets. Time Warner owns an incredible amount of television and film properties. The most famous is probably Warner Brothers Animation Studios, which owns properties like Looney Tunes. Along with that, Time Warner has giant ventures in the CW and Hulu, along with the ultra niche television programming for medical waiting rooms. While Time Warner has also played a big role in comic book adaptations into movies, most notably with the Batman. Let's talk about the print assets of the Time Warner. On the top of its incredible television and movies, Time Warner also controls several big name print assets, including Times. Investments, the company is also doing investments, and it has one of the most diverse investments portfolios of any media company. Their investments act as the controlling interest in lots of companies, some of which are not related to media. But no matter what they are, each investment gives Time Warner a stronger foothold in media. They also have a video game assets. As the owner of the DC Comics, Looney Tunes, and tons of other fictional characters, it makes sense that Time Warner owns a list of accomplished video game studios. The most well known is probably NetherRealm, which owns or publishes the controversial and popular Mortal Kombat series. They also own Rocksteady, which is responsible for many of the latest Batman games. Time Warner doesn't own a lot in music, but they have enough to ensure musical support for their other properties. Water Tower Music might be the better known business of the two enterprises, but Warner Music Group is still an essential part of the Time Warner brand. The next media conglomerate is the Comcast. Comcast is one of the few remaining internet services providers in the United States. They also provide cable television and phone services to residential and business customers. In 2013, Comcast expanded its reach into entertainment by purchasing NBC and pretty much all of its properties. While most people know NBC as just a television station, It also has major stakes in media companies around the world. That makes Comcast a major contender in global media, especially in the United States. The head of the company is Brian L. Roberts. Brian L. Roberts became president of the Comcast in 1990, back when the company only earned 657 million US dollars in annual revenue. That may sound like a ridiculous figure to use with the term only, but under Roberts' leadership, the company now earns 74.5 billion US dollars annually. As a result, Roberts is compensated well. He earns 40.8 million US dollar per year, which works out to 1.57 million US dollar per paycheck. That salary may be exclusive to Comcast Utilities subscriptions, but that's not the only way the ISP megalith earns money. The Comcast have television and film assets. With the acquisitions of NBC, Comcast expanded its repertoire of television and film assets many times over. Television programming from NBC, cinema from Universal Pictures, and next gen publishers like Amusements Television are all integral of Comcast's growth and sustainability over the next few decades. Even their religious nature branch, which is a big idea, and this idea plays an important role in Comcast's continued success and increased competitiveness in the media world. Internet assets of the Comcast. Most famously, Comcast is known as an internet provider. It's a direct competitor to Time Warner Cable, and it's the primary, or you could say the only, ISP in dozens of regions in the United States. You should know that Comcast has a laundry list of ventures that is launched or helped launch. This gives Comcast an interest in dozens of seemingly unrelated companies as an investors and potentially a future shareholders for the most successful branches. These were the four most are the big media conglomerates in the world who have control almost all the media around the world. And in my previous lectures before the COVID-19, and especially in Media and Society in Pakistan course, I have discussed with you the media conglomerates of Pakistani companies. These were the media companies in the United States. I think it's enough for today. Thanks for watching my video. Also, if I have time, I will discuss with you the other media conglomerates around the world, but I think it's enough. Thank you once again for watching my video lecture, and kindly subscribe my channel so that whenever I upload a next video lecture, you will get it easily. Thank you once again, and best of luck.